What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Dream Cancel Podcast, episode 37. My name is Desmond, and I'm the administrator of DreamCancel.com. And on tonight's episode, we're going to be sitting down and talking with Frofighter, and he lives in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and he's with us right now. And how you doing, man?
Doing great. How you doing, Desmond?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much. And your name's Ahmed. How do you say your last name, if you don't mind?
I pronounce it in English as Al Qadim. I don't bother with the Arabic pronunciation because even in Arabic it can get hectic for people. So Al Qadim it is.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Great to have you, man. Very
Right.
great to have you, man. This is pretty cool. I never interviewed someone so far away from the U.S. before, so this is a treat.
It's a pleasure to be here, man.
All right. Cool. Before we get into the interview, just want to give a couple of news reports and give some shout outs to our networks and to let people know what's going on in the scene as far as KOF goes, at least from my perspective, at least. So here we go. All right, Dream Cancel T-shirts for sale. Yeah, this one is $13. This one is $11.50. And this is Lazy Fred's. This one is I'm not sure. I think maybe $14. But if you want to know the prices, go to dreamcancel.spreadshirt.com for prices. And um, I sent shirt to the top three of NEC 15, and I believe Louis Shaw got his, and we'll see if Reynald and Mysterio got theirs.
All
So
right.
yeah, man.
I'm digging the pretzel motion shirt. That one's really getting me. Yeah, that one's awesome.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of people like this shirt. Freddie said that people were talking about it, so he decided to just take a picture and tweet it out. All right. Oh yeah, big ups to Samba from France for their frame data app, where you can check out KO13 frame data on your phone. So go ahead and download it. Really useful, and it's very helpful indeed. Shout outs to KOF Funeral Blogspot, and check out their Facebook. They're holding it down for Mexico. Shout outs to the KOF 13 hitbox.blogspot.com, where you can check out images of characters normals from KOF 13. And just to let y'all know on the front page, actually, I'll get to the front page in a little bit. I'll save that for a couple minutes. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Shout outs to the Nest organization in Taiwan. Shout outs to Zero Black from Chile. Chat with us um, at Chatwing. This is the chat box that we have on the front page of Dream Council, where we use for just general discussion and for our events. And earlier today, we had a event called the Dream Council KOF 98 Final Edition online release party, where we had people just um, find each other and swap Steam IDs and stuff like that to play. Pretty good. Oh yeah, shout out to Rosanaji. Shout outs to Gunsmith. He has a couple of videos out showing 98 Final Edition. Oh yeah, view the forums via Tapatalk. Check out the forums um, with this app on your phone. Go ahead and download it, and you can view the forums. You can send messages. You can post on the forums from your phone, which is very useful. I use it a lot. I use it all the time. So go ahead and uh, use and take advantage of it. What else we got? Shout outs to the Kings of Colorado, the Kings of Co. Shout outs to FM Sway on the down for New Jersey. Shout outs to SLO Rosarito, holding it down in Mexico. And also, just let y'all know, you can donate to Dream Cancel. Just send um, your pennies and dollars to dreamcancelsnk@gmail.com, and the donate button is on the front page if you want to check that out. And oh yeah, King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. It's coming out for Steam. Not sure when, but at the current moment, everyone is busy testing out the King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match Final Edition on Steam. Shout outs to everyone that I've played on Steam. I've been having a lot of fun. Big shout outs to Code Mystics. They have been updating the game, giving people access to a beta version, a public beta, where you can check out some of the updates and tweaks and changes, slight changes to the game, mainly the netcode and some other um, more of the netcode and the controls of the game. Because I do know that they're tweaking the timings of the controls in the game to make them a bit more fluid. So big ups to them, and I think that there should be another update tonight or so, or if you're watching this at a later time, they're probably at a higher set of updates. So go ahead and go to the Steam forums and see what's up and post your feedback. Um, do you plan on getting this game, Ahmed?
Ultimate Match. Already got it. It's
Oh, Final Edition?
on Steam, right? Yeah, I've already got it, and it's. I think we were mentioning earlier prior that I haven't tried it online yet, but as far as how the game plays, it feels like good old '98. I did play Ultimate Match, the non-final edition on 360, so I already had a good idea of what to expect going in.
Yes.
And there's never a reason not to buy KOF 98. I think this is the fourth time I've bought this game or a different version of it.
Right, yeah. I think this is probably the third because I have a PS2 version, I have a 360 version, and then I have this version. So yeah, it's crazy. I mean, us SNK players, we were buying like multiple versions of like the same game, like KOF 13 and stuff like that. So
Well, we love this series. It's what we do.
yeah, it's a lot of love. And tournaments coming up. Let's see. Well, tournaments that have passed. GameCon in Costa Rica. It's happened this past weekend, and it was pretty good. The results for that tournament, I'll pull them up really, really, really quickly. I do know that um, Bala won. It was Bala first place. Second place, it was TS Oscar. Third was Rockland Keo. Fourth was Gabo. Fifth was Chris G and Nano. And I forgot how many entries there were. I forgot. It was a good amount, but I watched the stream and it was a pretty good stream. If you want to check it out, just type in True Dash Challengers on YouTube or on Twitch, where you can watch the archive of the tournament. Really, really good.
Well, so excruciating that it's in Costa Rica, so Bala's right. He's that close to being back on state soil to challenge the champions on that side again. But just I don't know when we're gonna see that happen again.
Yeah, I know, man. I guess we just have to let time tell, pretty much. But yeah, this was a good tournament to watch. So go ahead and check it out later. Tournament's coming up in January. Let's see. Oh yeah, Frosty Frostings. This is going to be in Chicago, and it's a Guilty Gear focused tournament. KF 13 will be there, and maybe 98 might be there. We'll definitely see. We'll have to see what kind of side tournaments, and we'll load up the game lists. And Zerd is going to be there. Ultra, Killer Instinct, Plus R, Marvel 3, and KOF will be there too. So I'll be there, and if you want to play KOF with me, if you want to do, a long set or something like that, just let me know, or I'll see you in the brackets. So go ahead and check out Frosty's Frostings. That is January 23rd, 2015. If you want to know more information, just go on the front page Dream Cancel, or just type in Frosty's Frostings in Google, and you'll see more information. And another tournament that is happening actually a little before that. This is going down, I believe, in Colorado. This is Winter Showdown, hosted by Kings of Co. And KOF 13 will be there, as well as Zerd and Blaze Blue. And this is Winter Showdown 2. So, yeah, this is the second installment of this tournament. So go ahead and check it out. If you're in the Colorado state border, or if you're outside of it, go ahead and give them a visit. Kings of Co are really, really strong. KF 13 players. And again, this tournament is in January 10th. And we'll get more information soon. Shout out to Kings of Colorado. And oh yeah, just to let people know, I am still compiling the KOF 13 2014 highlights video. Actually, I just started editing the videos. So right now, I think I'm probably gonna be finished before the month is up. So it should be out around, I would say, 31st, which is a Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. It should be pretty good. And oh yeah, front page coverage. Let's do that real quick, real quick. I'll share the front page for people to view. Hold tight. Okay, I'm gonna screen share this. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna see Affinity. All right, here we go. All right. All right. Well, today we did a somewhat lengthy online release party for KOF 98 Final Edition. We had a couple players show up to the chat box to match make and whatnot. And we might do this again, maybe like next Saturday or something. We'll see what the reception is. So I hope people have fun. Oh, Ahmed, man, I'm hearing some echo.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
What should I do, or what would prevent that?
Do you have headphones?
See if I can get them working. They haven't been doing the best job for me, sadly.
Okay, because yeah, I could hear like coming out of your speakers, but I'll keep going real quick. KF 13 is available in Japan and PSN. So if you have a Japanese PSN account and you got some yen and you really want to play KOF 11, go ahead and get it, as well as Samurai Showdown 6 and Metal Slug.
Alright, give me just a quick minute. Now, like, as you just keep going with this, I'll try to get maybe a better set of headphones to prevent this echo. I'll be back in less than 2 minutes, hopefully.
All right, cool. I'll be here. All right, and Lazy Freddy taking his time to create hitbox videos for the entire cast, and this is very useful. Because if you remember the last time he was on the show, he was telling us, how useful it is to see it in motion, and also it's very useful for you to see it in slow motion. Because I know in YouTube you can slow it down. You can't slow it down frame by frame. You can slow down to a considerable amount where you can kind of see the hitboxes move and whatnot. And yeah, it's on the front page as you see right here, and he has a playlist, so you can uh, click the video, and as you see, And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slow down. I know like you probably can't see it that much. And this is EX Keo right here. And you can kind of just like see the hitbox and see the collision hitbox and the other boxes move. And if you click the next button, you can see Iori. And I'm gonna slow this one down. And he's performing normal special moves, command moves, Neo Maxes, and maybe in the future he might update it with maybe some things he's missed. And we'll take a look at it. This is normal kill right here. So yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty dope. Want to give shout outs to Lazy Freddy for putting this together, and mainly big shout outs to Odabugs and Phoenix for releasing the Hitbox viewer to make this possible. And this was this all happened, I believe, this year. So this was a pretty good discovery, I feel, for the community because I know a lot of people are always curious about the hitboxes in the game of where they go and what's around them and whatnot. So again, big shout outs and check it out. And let me see. I think that's it. Yeah, there's a Goro combo video by Persona where you can check out. Um, Post NEC 15 KF13 casual stream. A couple of first to fives if you're interested in checking that out. And I believe that's mainly it regarding the front page covers. Oh yeah, here's the here's the donation button over here if you'd like to donate to the site. We also added a Twitter box right here if you can see the last two tweets and retweets. And over to the left we have some buttons where you can buy KOF 98 um, Ultimate Match Final Edition on Steam and KOF 13 on Steam right here on the left. And yeah, I believe that's it regarding some front page coverage. And you still here? Okay, he's probably still looking for his headset. But yeah, just want to let everybody know. Yeah, the year is almost up for 2014. I want to thank everybody for checking out the podcast because I believe January we started our first official episode, and we'll probably do a recap show um, probably in July. So uh, we'll probably invite a couple more people to talk with us. Maybe there might be an article, and then we'll have the highlights video featured. All right. Just to let you know real quick, we're still connected with Frofighter. All right, cool. He'll be back in a quick second. In the meantime, what I would like to do is I want to show the videos that Gunsmith from Rochinaji posted up. He has a couple of videos showing
All
some.
right.
Oh, what's up, man? How you doing, dude?
Okay, there we go.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to show something real quick before we get to the interview, man. Yeah, things sound good, by the way.
All right, fantastic.
Cool. Let me screen share again. All right. And he has a couple of quick guides to a few of the characters in the KOF 98 Ultimate Match Final Edition. This is a 5-minute guide. This one is for Brian. So if you want to check it out, man, go to Alan Francois or El Shinaji YouTube channel, and yeah, he talks about some a couple of basics, nothing too deep. If you want to try some characters out that you're not familiar with in KOF 98 uh, Ultimate Match Final Edition. And he has a couple of them. He has one for Chris and Mary, and I checked one out of Hydern. So we'll probably, you know what? I'll probably front page these on our on Dream Castle. So stay tuned. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, man. Are you still here?
Yes,
All
yes,
right,
sir.
great, 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 cool, man. Well, firstly, man, whenever I interview people, I want to get to know a little bit about their, their history of where they were born here on planet Earth. So, where's your birthplace, man?
Right here in Riyadh, I was born and raised here. Pretty much lived here my whole life, right up until I graduated high school. Was always a gamer all the way from the beginning. Had a Master System and NES, and kind of went from there.
Hmm. Okay.
Went to college in Purdue, so Midwest is was kind of like my second home back when I was in the States. Great time, great community. That's kind of it in a nutshell as far as where I was where I've lived, where I've gone.
Mm.
Half Egyptian, which meant that almost all my summers were spent in Egypt. That was always fun. Huge
Oh.
family over there.
Oh. Okay. 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 Man. Is there a gaming scene out there that you know of, or you were just there just to visit family, pretty much?
For family, I would randomly discover pockets of arcade players here and there. We would just be going to a mall, and I would just find a bootlegged KOF machine, usually 99 for some reason.
Oh, hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and I would find players just huddled around that, and that was pretty cool. And found a couple of pretty good players over there. It was in Egypt that I discovered getting scum-galed into Super by Iori.
Okay. All right. Cool. That's nice. Um, how did you get into fighting games? Because you said that you had a few consoles, but how did you like get introduced to playing fighting games, even on a very like casual level?
All right, well, I clearly remember the first fighting game I touched. It was Fatal Fury 1 on the Genesis.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And, and that was the only version that allowed you to use the quote-unquote sub-boss characters in versus mode. So, in Super NES and arcade, you could only play Terry, Andy, or Joe. On the
Right.
Genesis, you could play any of those other characters that you challenge as you go along the game. So the first character I picked was Michael Max, the Balrog clone in that game. Because I
Okay.
was like, oh, boxing gloves, he's got to be good, right? Because he beats really hard.
Right.
And the first special move I learned, of course, was Joe TNT Punch. Just mash that A button.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. That's funny, man. I actually I rented Fatal Fury 2, not one, because I remember I saw it up at the rental store, and I saw two, and I was like, oh, let me get this one. So yeah, I can kind of feel you coming from.
Yeah, it was great times, and we didn't really know much back then. I didn't understand how things like directional inputs on each side worked, so I could only do either fireball or hurricane kick depending on which side of the screen I was on. I didn't understand much about fighting games back then.
Right. Me either. They're mainly just for fun, man, and I just like the aesthetic. So yeah, I definitely relate to you there. Um, when did you become competitive? Do you remember like the transition from like just playing fighting games just for fun, and then maybe taking it a bit more serious? Was there a game or an event that kind of started that transition, you think?
It kind of happened on two levels. First off was with KOF 2003. That was the game where I started to figure out what combo systems are like, how things like close normal, command normal, special move worked, things like that. But there was no scene to speak of back when I was figuring that stuff out.
Yeah.
Once I went to the States, there was a little arcade, just good old classic style, small dark room full of cabinets, and there was a third strike cabinet there that had people coming to it every single day. And as I started playing with those guys is when I started to really get into how to learn a fighting game, how to become competitive at it, how to let go of bad mindsets of oh this is cheap, that's not supposed to work, etc., etc., etc.
Hmm.
And it was a humbling experience, but it was one that really got the ball rolling for me in terms of becoming a competitive fighting game player.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool, man. Um. Oh yeah. What was the how's like what's like the gaming scene in Saudi Arabia? If you can share that with us.
The gaming scene here, at least growing up, was mostly centered around soccer games and racing games. Those are the two big loves of the country, and that's why I was always kind of the odd guy out who enjoyed fighting games.
Yeah.
And as it's gone on today, it hasn't changed much. It's just mostly moved towards Call of Duty. I guess it's kind of just how gaming is homogenized worldwide in some ways.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so now it's the racing games haven't been nearly as popular recently. It's mostly Call of Duty and FIFA that really gets around these areas. But I've luckily managed to find enough fighting game players just to keep things going around here. So it
Right.
hasn't been too bad.
What are the differences you notice between the scene in Saudi Arabia to the U.S.?
Well, actually, there's a surprising amount of similarity in the sense that for most games that aren't Street Fighter, the players that are dedicated to the game are spread out in little pockets around the country and even around the region, taking some other countries into account. Kind of, if you take each state in the U.S. as an example, that's kind of what we're looking at here. With the difference, you'll have a few dedicated players, for example, over in Illinois, then a couple in Indiana, then a couple somewhere else.
Yeah.
And getting those big numbers going can be challenging because of that, because it's hard to get everybody in the same place at the same time. But the players that do play are typically pretty dedicated, because they understand that if they want the game to keep going, they can't afford not to be.
Right. Okay. Okay. Um, what are like when people ask you about Saudi Arabia, what are some of the like biggest misconceptions you hear about it?
The biggest one I always have to come up with is that we're all rich. We're not. I mean, the one thing is that the country does spend big on us, which is pretty nice. We do have a country-paid scholarship program to send people to the countries like the U.S., Canada, Japan, China, among others.
Yeah.
I was a recipient of such a scholarship program, and that's how I ended up being able to afford a U.S. college education. And that would have to be the biggest one. Some of the other ones have kind of gone by the wayside. Things like the country not being urban enough, of it mostly being a desert area with people traveling on camels and whatnot. That one kind of died a long time ago, thankfully.
Oh man, I remember. Oh, dude, what's the name of that Viper player, man?
Latif.
Latif. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I remember hearing like somebody on stream like ask him about like the scene or whatever. Like, man, do y'all play in like in tents or something like that? Y'all play in like in sand dunes or something like that? And I was like, oh man, like come on now.
Well, the tents part, tents have modernized. Some people like to make a little tent-shaped living room, they like just outside their house.
Yeah.
It just gives that old school Arab setting feel. And I've hung out at at a friend's place who had that, and it was pretty nice. But it's a tent setup with a full electrical outlet, monitor inside. It's like once you get inside, you barely recognize that it's a tent. So
Right, right. Okay, okay. All right. Yeah, that's one thing I always wanted to know, about different countries, about what people kind of like think of them, like beforehand, before they know, much more about them. You know what I'm saying? Um, Another question I had was, what other places have you traveled, man? Besides just Saudi Arabia, U.S. and Egypt.
Well, not that many come to think of it. I've been to places like France, Malaysia, and Singapore, but each of those only once.
Oh, okay. Well, mainly passing through or just visiting?
Just
Or?
just visiting, going on little tourism trips with my family. I've been to London as well, but I was only two back then. Mostly I've just gone to Egypt. Oh, of course, Dubai is another hotspot I like to visit. That's a nice one to go to every once in a while since it's basically next door.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, just I keep my travels related to people and events more so than places I want to go, which is hopefully why I'll be going to Evo again this year.
Yeah. How many times have you been going to Evo?
Twice. The second time was when we met up on the on Pedro's stream
Yeah.
last time for the side stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
First time was in 2012, and that was the year where KOF was making its debut. And sadly, I had an exam the following day, and I couldn't stay to watch KOF finals. I was so gutted that I missed that.
So you had to take a plane all the way back to Saudi Arabia for that, or was
Oh,
this?
back then I was still at Purdue, so
Oh, okay, okay. Oh man, I was about to say, dude, like,
yeah,
wow.
that was for 12. For 14, yeah, it was Saudi Vegas, Vegas Saudi. It was
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, how long was that uh trip?
The trip takes about 14 to 15 hours. Usually I took British Airways, so I'd stop over in London. It's a nice little split in the middle, so it's like 8 hours, then 6 hours, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. 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 All right, man. What did you think of Evo 2012 compared to 2014?
Oh, 14 was definitely bigger. It had more. It's moving more towards the sponsorship-based stuff. Like things are getting more in line with what's expected from the general public. 2012 had a slightly more raw feel to it, even though it was already moving in the. Uh, I'm not sure if I want to say more professional direction because Evo has always run very professionally, as has been the case for quite some time.
Right.
As for KOF, a lot of people keep saying 12 was the top year in terms of its hype and whatnot. Sometimes I don't necessarily agree. I feel that players' gameplay has actually improved as the years have gone on. That's something that is one more as we get into discussing KOF.
Right. I think maybe people are talking about the hype, like the excitement, more than the gameplay. You know what I
Could
mean?
be, yeah.
Because I think that can kind of um, attract people more than what's actually on the screen. Because if people just hype and then you don't know what's on the screen, you're gonna be hyped too. You're like, oh yeah, man, this is great. I don't know what's going on, but it looks cool, you know. But how did you do at the tournament?
Both times weren't the best performances for me. In 12, I beat a couple of people, but they were. You remember that was Shirt Monster year back with the my shirt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely remember that.
I lost to Alfonso Lewis from Florida. So,
Oh, okay.
and it was actually an incredibly close match. I dropped my hit confirm that would have taken me to losers finals of the pool. He proceeded to make the comeback on me, and that was that.
Okay. Did you play any like casuals or longer sets with people before or after the KF13 tournament?
Not during 12, sadly, but 14 is when I found the salty suite that was being run by Team Lago.
Okay.
That was the best time. I spent all night, every night in that room playing KOF, and it was the best part of Evo 2014.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool, man. Um. I want to shift a big back to the Saudi Arabia scene. I want to know, man, how often do you guys play KOF, and what is the KOF game of choice there?
That is a sad topic because the gatherings for KOF are very hard to come by.
Okay.
In my core group, I'm actually the only KOF player.
Oh, okay, okay.
But there are others on the east side of the country, there are others on the west, and I'm going to be visiting both very soon.
Yeah.
So it's every few months that I really get down to meeting up with the KOF scene and playing with them.
How far is that from where you're currently at?
4 hour drive one way, 8 hour drive the other.
Ooh, okay.
I just take flights.
Oh, okay, okay. That works. Um, because reason I asked because I was actually watching some of the archives, man. The from the Rydia FGC YouTube channel, and it seemed like the last time y'all recorded some gameplay was in April, and I was kind of looking for some more stuff, and it seems like y'all are kind of playing and experimenting in different games, you know?
Yeah, you'd be right. That was the last time we got footage recorded, but we will have more very, very soon. I'm going to Oman in 3 weeks. There's going to be a tournament there. Red Bull's going to be sponsoring,
Oh, nice.
and we'll be recording from there. And I should be able to get a good deal of footage up from that. Some pretty good level of play is going to be exhibited there. I think it's going to be KOF 13 and 98 Ultimate. I'm not 100% sure on 98 yet, but 13 will definitely be.
Okay, sounds good. Um, how often do you like just host gaming period? Like, I mean, do you host at house, or do you guys play at a community center, or what's like the headquarters as far as a gathering goes?
We used to need a place that would have consoles set up for us, but the thing is we always had to pay for the base, and it wasn't the best spot. Old building, faulty electrical outlets that literally nearly killed us on an occasion or two. So I've moved things to my house, and we've been gathering there every week, especially since the Guilty Gear Xrd came out. People have been going in pretty hard on that game, and we've been meeting every week for it. It's been pretty high. I did find one other KOF player here recently, and at least that's been a benefit, a side benefit of hosting those gatherings.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool. And how often do you schedule these gatherings?
Every week.
Every week. Okay. Is it like a weekday or a weekend day?
The first day of the weekend, which is Thursday here. Our weekends are Fridays and Saturdays.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Right, because our holy service is on Friday rather than Sunday, so that's that's accommodating.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Um. All right. I want to go back a little bit about KOF 13. How excited were you about KOF 13 before it was released?
Exceptionally hype. 12 had been quite a disappointment despite the new look graphics and everything, but it just didn't really work out. And with 13 coming out, admittedly, I was a little hesitant because of the arcade version. You might recall certain Raiden drop kicking his way through entire team. But once I knew they were balancing things out and just kind of tweaking everything, I got a lot more excited, and thankfully the product more than lived up to my hopes.
Okay. Okay. Um, when you got the game for the first time, what system did you get it on? Was it on 360 or PS3?
I got it on PS3 because I hadn't owned a 360 until after I graduated from Purdue.
Okay. All right. What characters did you play around with when, like, the first maybe week or two when you got the game?
Mostly Terry, because I've mained him in every single KOF game, my favorite character of all time. I messed around with Ash, because I thought I'd be able to get the hang of his execution. Didn't happen.
Hmm.
Kim as well, that was the first team I had, Terry, Ash, Kim.
Right. Okay.
Later on, moved on to once I decided to find an anchor, I found Claw Iori. He subbed in for Ash, and that formed the basis for what became my team afterwards. Terry, Iori, and Kim.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that in a few of your matches on the YouTube channel, which was pretty cool. Um, is KOF 13 like your first like very serious KOF game? Like as far as like really studying it, or do you have any like past KOF games that you have like?
That would be KOF 11.
Oh, okay, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was an arcade cabinet at that same arcade where I got started, and it was actually somebody kept messing with that cabinet's credit settings. Sometimes it would give 2 credits per quarter. There was a time where somebody found it open and set it to free play.
Oh,
So
wow.
we, yeah, we got to mess around with that game a lot. There was a friend of mine from Korea, Minwoo. If you end up hearing this, shout outs to you. He was the guy I played that game with the most. We had a ton of fun exploring it together till he decided to go KGO on me, and I wasn't able to win much ever since.
Oh, I see. I see.
Kulagato Oswald, for those who aren't aware, is generally considered the best team in that game overall.
Oh yeah, I've heard, man. I think they're pretty top tier in that game.
Yeah, the top 3 characters, and together they form a very potent team.
Have you ever tried the PS2 version, or did you just play strictly in the arcade?
I had the PS2 version at home when I was still in Saudi before I went to college, and then when I found it in the arcade, that's when I started really getting into it competitively. And you guys posted about the PSN version being up on Japanese PSN. Just got that today, so
Oh,
building
nice.
up some nostalgia.
Oh, really? Okay. How does it feel, man? Is it like just like the PS2 version, or is it anything different at all?
It's a port of the PS2 version, so it plays the same. And the PS2 version was pretty faithful to the arcade. It has the arcade version on it, and it also has an arranged version with some balance tweaks that bring it back to 2003 a little bit more.
Yeah.
Not so many people are a fan of that. The good old arcade balance is what most people go with.
Okay. All right. Comparing 11 to 13, I mean, when you first tried out 13, were some things that you noticed that were different in the game?
13, I think I felt that the cancel timing as well as comboing from jump ins felt harder compared to 11.
Hmm.
Can, hit confirms felt a little more difficult in 13 when I was starting out. The combo system was definitely different because 11 had the quick shift tagging combos where you would hit 2 buttons in the middle of a combo. One of your characters would hop in. You would hit an aerial as they were coming in from the air and continue the combo. The drive cancel mechanic wasn't quite making sense to me yet. The only one that made sense was the easy mode Terry B&B burn knuckle crack shoot.
Yeah.
But once I got the hang of 13, it felt a lot more fluid. The way its combos flowed made a lot more sense once I understood how it worked.
Right. Okay. All right. I always wondered, because like I kind of felt that, or I feel now that like 13, it feels a little like 11 as far as like the speed a little bit, not with the crazy like quick shifting, but just kind of like the way like the characters' heights and the way that they're like spaced a little bit. Like that's kind of the closest I can kind of give it. I feel.
Yeah, there is enough similarity there. 11 did have a higher hopping emphasis because hop height in 11, especially when I tried the game again, it feels lower, so it felt harder to deal with in some cases.
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm just hallucinating on that, but it did feel that way.
Right. Right. Okay. All right, cool. Oh, did you ever try online mode in KF 13 when you first got the game?
Didn't even bother. My connection was always not very good, even when I was in the US. And when I heard about how 13 was on console online, I decided not to bother myself with it because I didn't want to get annoyed at dropping combos because of lag, not being able to anti-air, especially in a game with such a tight neutral like KOF. I didn't want to experience that at all. I just saved it for offline, and
Yeah,
it was fine enough for me to do that.
that's cool. How many people locally were down to play with you?
In the beginning, quite a few. We would have 4 or 5 people. For Purdue, that was a decent number for one game. 4 or 5 people that were willing to play. Eventually, though, most of them ended up falling by the wayside, and I would have to go to Indianapolis to get any KOF action at all.
Yes.
Some people started getting into it again right before I graduated, and they were getting pretty good at the game at that time. So at least I always had people to play with at some point. I never really got to a point where nobody would play the game.
Right. Okay. That's cool, man. Um, what was, or if you could remember, what was your first tournament you entered in for KOF 13?
I do recall it was in Indianapolis. It was called the Naptown Clutch. That's their series of regional tournaments that they do.
Yeah.
I played there. The 2 people I lost to, I still recall, were Action Hank from Ohio and Zerp from pretty much everywhere during that time because he traveled to every single tournament. I think it was from Virginia,
Yeah.
but he went to every single KOF 13 tournament. Everywhere I went, I found him.
Yeah, I do remember him traveling quite a bit to different places. So it's kind of hard for me to know where he was from because he was just going to all these places.
I think he just barely mentioned Virginia once, and that's the only reason I might have known. Otherwise, it was just like, no, he's from the entire USA and pretty much the entire world at some point.
Right. Well, what did you learn at that tournament, man?
I, by pure coincidence, learned how to punish Andy Zanakin, the elbow,
Yeah.
because Action Hank was playing him. I got it on block, and I hit him with a stand C, and I was like, oh, okay. So if I have that timing, it's a punish, because he was really surprised. Nobody knew how to punish that move when the game first came out.
Right.
Otherwise, just not to blow my meter on killing the second character if I've still got if in certain situations, because that was what cost me my losers match against Zerp.
Yeah.
I learned meter management the hard way because I killed he was playing Raiden, and I went through a whole Iori HD on him, and by the time his Kyo came in, I had no damage to speak of. So
Oh, you ran out of meter, pretty much?
yeah, through my whole meter, and there was still a Kyo to go, and I only had like 30% life left. It was a
Ooh.
tough situation. I didn't manage. He managed to get me with. I hopped at the wrong time, and he caught me with Neomax. And the only reason that option would have killed me is because, well, I was already low on life, and I'd already wasted a lot of meter, so I didn't have any options to think of at that time.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Um, what about non-gameplay wise? What did you learn just about, you know, socially as far as like going to tournaments and stuff like that, since that was your first one, if you could recall.
Well, and I'd been doing tournaments locally for a while, so as far as tournament going, not much was too different for me. Just being courteous to other players, just pre and post match etiquette was all on point.
Yeah.
Uh, I hope I didn't upset anybody. But learning about the Ohio KOF scene was probably the coolest thing, and that's how I ended up going to their tournament. It was Power Up that same year,
Wait, what year?
2012.
I was up there.
Yeah, you were. We met very briefly, but I do recall meeting you there.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was but yeah, the Bala was there. He came in and basically steamrolled the tournament, I recall, and I hung out a lot with him that time, and he taught me a lot of things as well about how to get better at the game. He had told me to drop Terry back then too, I recall, because it said Terry's not good enough. You should just stop playing that character.
Oh man.
And I listened to him for a while, but I ended up going back.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to just play who you're comfortable with, and just kind of utilize them as best as you can.
Yeah, and that's a lesson that took me about 6 months to learn.
Right. Okay. Um, did you uh did you play a lot of like casuals up at Power Up as far as I remember? Or
Well, somewhat. I remember playing with after I got eliminated. I played with one of the guys who made top 16 to prep him, and I felt pretty bad about not making top 16 because I was winning quite comfortably. Um,
or
I
in
played a
casual?
lot. Yeah, and casuals.
Yeah, yeah. Me too,
That's
man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Me too.
ain't that a kick every time it happens.
Yeah,
As I mentioned, played a lot with Bala as well. He was playing kind of tertiary or quaternary teams, but it was still Bala. It was still pretty much impossible for my skill level at least.
yeah. Okay. One question I like to ask people, man, is what tips do you have for people that like to travel for tournaments? To ensure that they have a good experience and that they are um, really maximizing and utilizing their time at a tournament.
Number one is be social. Be as social as you can, especially around the players of the game that you play. You'll get to know them. They'll want to hang out later. You'll get to enjoy more time playing the game that you love the most around a whole bunch of people who share your exact same interest. It's such a rare opportunity to have, and squandering it by not attending the gatherings that happen after the tournament is a huge waste. And Evo 14 was a huge example of that for me with the Team Lago suite. Get to approach the players, get to know your community, and even if you don't see them for a year or two at a time, at least you know that they're there for when you go for following tournaments for the game. You know that they'll be there. You know that they'll be welcoming to you again,
Yeah,
and you're going to have a fantastic time each and every time.
that's well said. You know, I've always believed that when you make these connections, with people at these tournaments, you never know. Like sometimes like they might help you if you're in kind of a rough spot or something like that. Like say like you can't like afford to to get a whole hotel room or something. They might you know be nice enough to split a room with you or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, or they might or even just invite you to play casuals with them at their suite or something like that. They might have other players. So I agree, man. Being social, man, it's very important. It can help you out and help them out, and it's and it's not that hard either, man. I mean, people think like when you have to be social, you have to like put on like a song and dance and stuff. I mean, it could just be just anything from just saying just hello, how you doing?
Uh, we're, we're fighting game players. Being authentic should be what we're all about. It's integrated with the way we play our games. It just comes with the territory. It's okay. Be upfront.
Hmm.
Uh, maybe okay. Maybe the one thing is if you're a salty type, and they do exist. I've been there.
Yeah.
Just hold back on throwing all your salt out of the gates, just so you don't shove people away. Not everybody's willing to hear about how much you hate Mr. Karate's option select right from the first time you play with them.
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, sometimes you do have to kind of restrain yourself when you're like playing with people, especially people you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, they can kind of, um, they might judge you like, oh man, this dude is like kind of acting a little crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It's happened. Heck, when I was starting out, I did it in certain games, and I know from the effect it had on people, I learned what it means, why it's important not to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool, man. Um, oh, yo, I wanted to know, man. What are your favorite like KOF scenes, man? I mean, like just like worldwide. Like, which scenes do you like to check out and that inspire you to keep playing the game?
Hmm. I mean, I've always followed the U.S. scene because of the easy availability of streams, and it's pretty easy to keep up with. But when I'm able to, I try to watch the matches out of the Mexican community because they have the most. I'll put it right out there. They have the most disrespectful style of play, and if there's one thing I love watching in fighting games is people being disrespectful in the game because it's a sign of pure courage that
Yeah,
you're able to just enforce your game plan on your opponent, and I think it's one of the most important components of being a good player. You'll shake hands before and after the match, but in the match, you own the guy. You show him what you're made of. You're the one in control. That's how it works. And I feel that they're generally the best at doing that when it comes to things like hard reads,
Mm.
stylish combos, all sorts of stuff like that.
All right, cool, cool, cool. Who are your favorite players? Just off the top of your head, and why?
F First, I'd have to say would be Reynald because I think it's because he's basically improved his game alongside people from the Mexico community. Bala and Romance being the top two that come to mind for people who worked with him. He embodies that style. His EXQ is the embodiment of what I'm talking about. Courageous play style doesn't truly care about what his opponent is doing as long as he manages to nail them in the end. Crazy good offensive play, great hard reads. That a really exciting player to watch overall. And the other would have to be Mysterio because he brought to the fore play styles with his characters that hadn't really been done before. His king is an absolute joy to watch.
Mm.
His Yuri does things that many other Yuris don't do. His Psyche great hit confirms all the way across the screen. And if you've watched his long sets with Reynald from last year, he is the only player I have seen make Reynald look straight up free. I try to reserve my use of that word, but that is one time that I feel it's warranted.
Right. Okay. All right, cool, man. Um, question. This question is a little. We talked a little bit of, like, about this before about like sponsorship when it comes to like events, but how do you feel about like like esports and comparing it to like the FGC like sponsored events and like well like are you like how do you feel about that?
I am still on the fence about it. There's something about that raw FGC feel, that whole homegrown tournament thing that we've been so proud of for so long.
Yeah.
Because it's we put it together, we bring the players, we bring the consoles, we bring the monitors. Nobody used to do any of that for us, and we always made it work. But as as somebody who studied business, somebody who works in human resources, somebody who's worked in a private sector business before, you have to look at the financials as well. And having the sponsors is a huge step towards our wallets not being left completely emptied and having to impact the way our lives have to run each time we have to do a tournament or travel for one or what have you.
Yeah.
Especially for the organizers, they're the ones who have to bear so much of the burden, and for them, it's a step that I support, if only because it helps them, because the organizers and everybody who works with them are the most underappreciated people in the community by far. Despite all the recognition they've already gotten, there's still been a lot of hate where there shouldn't be because people don't understand what it takes to make those events work.
Right. Okay. That's well said. Have you ever tried to like run a tournament or even just like run a bracket or something like that or help like a tournament organizer at an event?
Oh yeah, our local Smash scene at Purdue was one where I eventually became an organizer. Uh, we also had a fighting game club, an official university organization where we ran tournaments there. And so running brackets was nothing new for me by the time I started traveling. It was just that uh, experiencing on a larger scale was cool. I even got to do a little bit of bracket running at Evo. Took a couple of pools for KOF and Smash under my wing, and it's always enjoyable for me. I always enjoy get just that experience of uh, being at the tournament, seeing all the hype and just unfold, and being around the players that way. And the only sad part for it for me is inevitably, especially in a big tournament, somebody's not going to show up. You're going to have to call it a disqualification, and
Yeah.
hopefully that person won't show up later and be confused as to what happened.
Yeah. 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 That's one of the tricky things I feel when it comes to like running events or even helping is that you're kind of put under a microscope. Like anything bad happens or unfavorable happens, it's kind of, I won't say it's like it's your, well, I would say it's someone's your responsibility, but like people tend to kind of like use it as like some sort of like justification or just a try to like make you feel that like it's like your fault or something like that or you know what I'm saying like that's just kind of how I feel like when you're just
Well,
running things it's difficult, man, because like people can kind of like
well,
can
yeah, yeah, no,
criticize
you're
about
absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And because of the amount of pressure you're placed under, sometimes you almost believe even the biggest of lies. Like somebody will say, "Oh, you could have a full schedule of about 12 games, so you have to run something at 8 a.m." And somebody's going to say, "Well, it's your fault you ran it at 8 a.m. That's why I couldn't wake up in time." And
yeah
you'll because you're under so much pressure, you might actually believe it, but it's for the most part, it's not true as long as you're running things as efficiently as possible. It's on the players when they have the information to do what's right, and it's just how it works.
yeah. Do you have any tips for someone that's interested in probably like running their own event, even if it's like like small scale?
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you run an event, especially if you're expecting people to show up for the first time, have a page set up with your rule sets for different games clearly spelled out, house rules, all sorts of stuff. Make that very, very clear so that there's no confusion as to any decisions you might take. Even things as inherently obvious as no pausing mid-match or no interfering with players. If you're a spectator, do not physically encroach on the players. Things like that. Keep them as clear as possible.
Hmm.
It might sound like it's a bit uptight, but as you're running you do keep that just for the rule lists. People should adhere to it, and as you're running the tournament, be courteous, be welcoming. Uh, just keep things open for players. Anybody who has a question, take it one at a time. Be nice to people. Be informative. As far as running your matches, if you have a station open and you have a match ready to go that isn't running, you have just messed up. Always make sure you have all your stations occupied as efficiently as possible. Run your bracket so that you have the biggest number of matches running at any time, and just try not to let your schedule fall behind on that. As far as setups, that always comes down to what you can provide, what your friends can provide.
Hmm.
And in that regard, don't be afraid to ask for help. At the end of the day, players are happy to go to a tournament, and they'll be happy to do what it takes for the tournament experience to be better. That's what it is. That's how it is for most people who go there,
Yeah.
and you should use that to your advantage, and people will be thankful that you did that.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. Um, this question just popped up in my head. I don't know if it's like if it should really be like asked. It should be obvious, but is there any similar tips for just someone that's interested in just hosting casuals and just interested in just bringing people into the game by like just hosting at their house or something like that? You think?
For the most part, it's pretty similar. The big thing about it would be if you're a fan of specific games and you're more partial to them, but your community is limited in terms of, you have a big spread of players, a few who are interested in this, a few who are interested in that. Be welcoming towards everything, even if you don't necessarily like all the games they play. You don't know where you could gain a new player for your game from at all.
Ooh,
Uh,
yeah.
for example, I don't like Ultra Street Fighter 4. I'm not a fan. But I've hosted Street Fighter at my house. I've gone to Street Fighter gatherings. I've streamed and recorded Street Fighter more than any other game because I feel that just the concept of community support in and of itself is still worth it. And now it's paying off dividends in that a lot of those same people are playing Guilty Gear, which is my other favorite fighting game aside from KOF. And like I said, you just never know.
That's a very good tip. I think that's one thing that people fail to realize is that
Absolutely.
people like to try out other games. And people like to experiment and compare games to the ones that they play. And I feel that a lot of times people kind of like neglect people that play other games or whatever, and oh, I'm playing this game, oh, they play that one or whatever, so I'm not gonna support or host or even just like attend gatherings or a tournament of the game that they don't play. You never know. There may be someone that is interested in trying out the game that you like, that may want to give their game a break. So yeah, that's a very good piece of advice.
Reminded me of something else, something I do want to mention,
Go ahead.
and something a lot of people do, and I absolutely despise it. If you at least have two or three players for a game, it may not seem like much, but don't start going just coming down on it and going and just repeatedly saying, "Oh, get dead game, the game is done, nobody's playing it," etc. If if you if you keep doing that, you essentially will kill off the game, and that's something I've seen happen on more than one occasion with different games. Even if the community itself is just three, four, five people, it's still you're still gathering, you're still playing the game you like. Just enjoy it in the moment. You don't have to have Team Spooky level, next level arcade, or well, Super Arcade tournaments. I was about to say level up, but that's not the case anymore. Just you don't have to have that level to say that you have a community. Three, four, five people. You all study from each other. You all improve together. That's still enough. It can still do it, and it's enough to prepare you for traveling later on.
Oh yeah, man, that's an excellent point, man. Because yeah, I feel like a lot of times with certain scenes, like people they depend so much on who's playing or how many people are playing. Like, oh, is a lot of people gonna be playing this game, or I'll play it if a lot of people play.
Yeah,
And a lot of
exactly.
times I tell them, and I try my best not to be very harsh. But I'm like, why don't you play? Like, why don't you take the time out and play and just kind of see like where it goes? And even if it's not like the 20, 30 people over on the scene, like, well, I mean, like just kind of be a little bit more carefree towards that. And if you're not happy with it, you can go wherever you want. But I still feel that people shouldn't rely so much on who's playing, how many people are playing, or what I'm saying. I just think people should just enjoy what they like, and then like from that, I feel that you might even get even more people because you're not like so fixated on how many people are, trying to.
Exactly. It's exactly to kind of make that point again. It's just put in your own effort before you expect other people to put in theirs.
Exactly, yeah. And also, I feel that if you put in your own effort and you're studying the game and stuff like that, and you're a fan of the game and you're enthusiastic, when new people come in, they can kind of like get that excitement from you, and then they may be more adamant to want to play. I feel rather than if you're just like, oh no, nobody plays this or whatever, and then
Exactly.
they're not going to be excited about it. One very small example is there's a guy here in Minnesota. He was visiting here. He was studying uh, he was studying up at the Mayo Clinic, um, and which is like this big like hospital. You know what I'm saying?
They've gotten around here too. So yeah, we're
Yeah,
pretty familiar.
yeah. And he was up there studying, for his medical school thing, and he was really, really into Guilty Gear, and he helped kind of invigorate our scene because he was just really enthusiastic about the game. I mean, he was at a city like an hour away from us, and he was just practicing on his own, and we visited him, and he was just really enthusiastic about the game, and he actually came up a few times to where all the other Guilty Gears players have been, and they, um, he basically kind of just like lit the fire again for the scene because he was just really, um, really interested in the game. He was skilled. I mean, he was beating us and whatnot, but I mean, it was, um, we just kind of fed from his excitement, and like it just kind of motivated people to want to play. So I feel that people like just shouldn't just like look at the quantity so much and just look at the quality of people in their scene.
Absolutely.
And another example is just because you have a small scene, that doesn't mean that you don't have the opportunity or ability to be skilled at the game. I don't want to put my local scene on blast, but all right, we have people playing Street Fighter 4, and this was like a couple years ago. This was I think Super the Super Edition or whatever. It was after Vanilla, and we
Or
have at
Super,
least
yeah.
yeah, and we have at least like 16 people playing and stuff like that. But 2 hours away, we had two people that played, the same game. And whenever they came by to play with us in our tournaments or whatever, they'll actually get top placing, like, or even like win the tournament. These are just two dudes, these two roommates, and I don't think they travel a lot. I think they just played online a lot and just played each other a lot. But they're just two dudes. And then they'll just come and play with us or whatever, and just dominate, just off of their own like willpower and their own intelligence. So I feel like even if you have a lot of people in one scene, that doesn't mean much. Like, what I'm saying, you could still like do well with what you have, even if it's like 4 or 5 players.
I love that example. It's making the most of what you have, and that's something that more people should learn how to do.
Exactly. Um, oh, here's a question for you, man. As far as getting better as a player, It, is there like one person that helped you, just kind of like just really motivated you and helped you level up as far as being a better like fighting game player?
In my third strike days, I want to shout out a good old friend of mine called Kenny So. He was basically the guy who gave me all the advice that cleaned up a lot of my bad habits in that game, and just kind of helped me establish what a good mindset is supposed to be in that. Uh, from there, afterwards there was the guy who was basically my rival throughout all sorts of different games. Funny enough, the KOF wasn't one of them, but we were rivals in Smash. We were rivals in Marvel.
Hmm.
That would be Jayford, former. He was the first recognized Skullgirls champion back when it was in the beta stages, and it's just that back and forth rivalry we had. We were really good friends, but also there was nobody either of us loved winning against more than the other, and it was because of that that put forth my drive to improve. Sometimes in games I didn't like as much. I mean, it was Marvel 3. You asked me which game I regret taking seriously the most. It would probably be that game, and yet we were big rivals in that game because it established a good competitive mindset, at least to go into other things and be a stronger player in those.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Reason
And
I asked
lots,
that.
too
Oh,
many
go ahead.
people to
Go ahead.
shout out. Honestly, sorry.
Oh,
If I had to actually list every single person who's been an influence, I would be here all night. So
oh yeah.
I'll
No.
just say Purdue Smash community, Purdue Fighting Game community. You guys are awesome. You're the best. You made me what I am.
Right. Okay. Reason I asked that because I feel that every fighting game player will at least come across one or two people that will just um, be like exponentially higher in skill, but they will have a lot of patience as far as helping you get better at the game. Even if they're like beating you like 100-0, they're still going to be there. You know what I mean? So I think every fighting game player will come across somebody like that.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned Smash a couple times, man. What are some like comparisons to Smash to the FGC or even just like to the like KOF scene that you've like noticed throughout the years?
Hmm. I think the Smash community is one of what we talked about being raw in the FGC.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of surprising that for the perception of the Smash community being quote unquote one of the nerdier ones or whatever or what have you, Smash is one of the most raw and in your face communities when it comes to a lot of things. They're incredibly upfront, they're incredibly honest in a lot of ways. The Smash community has been, especially Melee, with it being around 13 years, going on 14 now. There's a lot of history and a lot of potential drama to be dredged up when that game is around. and it makes for some of the best viewing you will ever have. Also some of the best tournament experiences you'll ever have. In terms of comparison, yeah, I'd say they're actually one of the most upfront communities out there compared to maybe even all of them.
Right.
Uh, Gameplay wise, I think KOF and Smash share weird similarities in terms of a neutral based around all sorts of different jump arcs and being able to utilize them to either meet your opponent in the air and or how to handle that jump arc with good anti-airing. It's kind of weird how that plays out, but it's I saw that similarity, and it's something that attracts me to both of those games as two of my favorites.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Reason I asked about the Smash community because, like, for me, I mean, I've always admired their effort, and the fact that they still use like CRTs and stuff like that,
Oh,
and plus like they're playing a game that's like 13 years old, whereas like FGC, like we get self-conscious if we're playing a game that's just like 2 or 3 years old, you know what I
well,
mean?
yeah, that's part of the reason that every time somebody's talking about a game starting to get old, it gets me because it's like we're mainly as a game where some things are still getting discovered 13 years later. So it's hard for me to say with all of our newer games that we've fully explored them by the time we start calling them old and overstudied.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of people kind of excuse like the popularity of the game as far as the scene goes, mainly to Nintendo. Do you feel that? Like, I mean, it's a Nintendo game as a Nintendo characters, they're easily identifiable. Whereas, like, Street Fighter and like, I mean, well, I guess Street Fighter is somewhat, a little popular, but it hasn't like has the household name of like Mario or like some of the other like Nintendo characters or Do you feel that way?
Yes and no. Yes, in terms of general viewership of who gets interested in watching or attending a Smash tournament, it's generally easier to find people more interested in Smash, just because of that Nintendo factor. The
Yes.
competitive factor, I have to say no. Melee is probably the most, in terms of the skill level of the players, one of the most difficult scenes to get into because the skill level in that game is so high. Where it's gotten to now, it's really hard to learn, and yet there's more information now so that people can get to a competent level quicker. But being able to break through the quote unquote glass ceiling, really, really hard. And I know I tried for years.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool. Well said. Um, oh, going back to like competitive tournament play. Um, we talked about this a lot of times on the show, man. How do you deal with like when you play in a tournament match or even just like a really hype kind of like long set? How you deal with like being nervous? Do you get like nervous or anxious like when you play certain matches and how do you deal with it?
Oh god, story of my life. Part of the reason that I have never done well at tournaments is that I'm a nervous wreck when it comes to tournament matches. As when one thing that I hope to work doesn't work, it tends to kind of snowball through the rest of my play, and especially when it comes to dropped combos. Evo 14 was the first time where I felt that didn't really happen, where my mistakes were just they just happened and it was done, and I just kept trying to play through
Yeah.
regardless. Before that, I was one of the worst people to ask when it comes to holding my nerve in tournament, and I, I don't think I don't think I can really honestly answer that question because I don't think I have figured it out yet. I
Oh,
don't I don't really have the answer to it because I haven't done it yet in order to be able to say it. I can say things like, "Oh, keep calm, stick to your game plan, don't get rattled by what your opponent does." I mean, I understand match psychology well enough, and it's what trickles into the way I do commentary. But applying it myself as a player, I can't say how I deal with it because I haven't done it yet.
okay. That's safe to say. I can understand that. Well, mainly I can shift it to do you know why
like you kind of feel a certain way when you play a tournament match? Is there things that like attribute those feelings?
I think it's because I don't know if I want to call it a sense of entitlement, and it's probably a bad one on my part. I feel I've worked so hard on KOF 13, especially with how much I've studied it, how much info I've looked up, how much match footage I've studied, matchup information, safe jumps, optimal combos from this side of the screen, that side of the screen, mid screen, how much corner carry, all this stuff
Yeah.
that I do constantly with a game that for a time I was practicing 5 to 6 hours per day. And I'm starting. I would keep feeling like if I don't win this match, like as I'm going into a match, if I don't win this match, it means that all I've done was for nothing.
Oh,
And it's that little part right there.
oh man, I can definitely relate to that, man, because I can understand like that because like even for myself, like I used to practice a lot, and if I lose, I'm like, man, I did all this practice, all this studying for nothing. I mean, am I wasting my time? Should I do something different? You know what I mean? But I feel now. I think it's more just about the attitude going in. Like I should just like be a little bit more different to that, and just accept whatever wins or losses I get because the losses they're part of your experience too. You still get the experience points, like in an RPG. Well,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. Well, all right. Well, aside from RPG, I mean, if you lose, you still get experience. You know what I'm saying? You learn more. I feel from the losses than you do like the more blatant obvious wins because I feel like anybody can win against anybody. I mean, anybody can get lucky. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Against someone. But I feel like the most information you get is like inside the match, and I think like just because you've been like for myself been like put X amounts of time in like training mode. Like I feel like you shouldn't really beat yourself over it if like you feel like you don't do well. Like I don't,
absolutely.
what I mean. And even if you do have a lot of experience, like you play a lot of people, I don't know. I still feel like it shouldn't really like try to deter you from constantly improving because you never know. I mean, you can probably beat someone that probably put more practice than you, but they just don't have as much experience. You know what I mean? But you just haven't came across that person yet. You know. So I mean, it can go either way. I feel.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's one thing that's kind of been helping me. I feel like I just been a little bit more carefree, but yeah, I can definitely relate. And plus, like with 13, like I used to think like, oh man, I've been playing like 98 and '02 and stuff, and I'm getting beat by people that just started with 13, and I've been putting all those hours and stuff. And now I just don't really care. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, they're different games, and it takes kind of slightly different skill sets to be good at each, despite the similar neutral. So it's being amazing at one may or may not necessarily carry over. I mean,
Oh
Shanghai
yeah.
did it, but
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's Shao Hai though.
yeah, the
He's
all-time grand champion of KOF, the Emperor. He's the man. So
yeah. And also to me, I feel like just because you lose or don't do well in a tournament or you lose a money match, like it doesn't like it's not a definition on who you are or if you're a good player or not. You know what I'm saying?
no,
I feel like a good player is someone that constantly keeps trying, constantly learns. You know what I'm saying? Rather than the one that wins the tournament or or whatever. You know what I mean?
in a way, yeah. In a way, I see it. It depends on the tournament scene. Also, like sometimes there are going to be players winning tournaments who aren't getting as much from them as the people that they've beaten,
Mhm.
ironically. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And plus, like, even if you do win a tournament or win tournaments, you're not gonna win every single one of them. um, every person at the top has to get knocked off. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, happened to Reynald at NEC, and I hope we can bring it back as we start approaching Evo. Hopefully KOF makes it, but we'll see about that.
Yeah. Oh, how do you feel about that, man? Do you think it's gonna like be there again, or do you wish, or do you know for like? I mean, not do you know, but like, do you have like? Are you pretty optimistic that it will return?
I'll My level of optimism will depend on how many games they say will be announced for the main stage.
Okay.
I think KOF has enough of a niche that it has an outside chance of still being in a 7 or 8 game lineup.
Okay. Okay.
Less than that, 6. If it's something like 6, I'm not too sure because you're gonna have a Smash game, whether it's Smash 4 or Melee. You're gonna have Street Fighter. You're gonna have Marvel. Guilty Gear Xrd is pretty much a shoe-in as well. And then you've got a couple of the iffier spots somewhere around there. So maybe still. And Mr. Wizard likes how the game is done at Evo, so that's hopefully gonna buff the chances a little bit. But I'm not gonna say I'm truly optimistic about it yet.
Okay. I kind of feel the same way. Well, I feel that it'll be there as long as we bring the hype before, those, I feel, decisions take place.
Yes.
Like if we're hype about the game as far as, we're showing our excitement at tournaments, providing good content, and just keeping the game as relevant as we can. I feel that it might be there.
And I think NEC went some way towards doing that. That was a pretty good top 8.
Oh yes, yeah. I try my best, to make sure, that people were hype, at that tournament, and make sure that um, that it'll help carry over into some other tournaments that maybe happening even at the top of the year. So yeah, I feel like hype is contagious. So if you're hype, then other people are going to be hype, and they're going to bring that to their events, or not even just like to events, like just like just the general attitude of the game, man. I mean, even if you just like reading people's posts on like social media and whatnot, or even just talking about it, like we're talking about it, I think that helps too. Because it helps motivate people and inspire people to want to play.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, oh, back to like competitive play for you. Do you like longer match sets, like first to fives, first to tens, or do you like shorter, like 2 out of 3 sets, like kind of in like bracket matches?
That debate. That one I struggle with a lot. I tend to go towards saying the longer sets because you are able to see more adaptation going on from both players rather than the surprise gambits they go for in shorter sets.
Yeah.
Uh, Overall, I would say longer sets, but there's a certain magic to shorter sets, and I'm not sure what it is. I think it's because of what I see in Street Fighter. You see Capcom Cup with Daigo not making top 8 and things like that, and it's like, how does that make sense outside of that setting? And yet it's so exciting to watch. It's a tough choice, but I'll go with longer sets because of the standard of gameplay that tends to be exhibited in them.
Okay. 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 Cool. Yeah, I like longer sets. I like playing and watching much longer sets. I do feel like 2 out of 3. It's a good like it's a good sense of urgency, and it does show like quick adaptation. But I feel like longer sets it's more of like it's more clear. You can kind of like see who's kind of filling out who, and who's adapting to what. Because I understand like in fighting games, it can take kind of a while to kind of get a person's rhythm down and stuff like that. Especially even if like if you don't play a lot of people, you kind of need some time to like get used to how a person plays and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I mean, I do understand like the point of like shorter sets. Like even like I've heard like in Japan, like they do single elimination one match tournaments and stuff like that.
They do that, and somehow it's what makes them so tough in in a lot of other settings because every single game matters.
Yeah, exactly. There's more initiative because like if you lose, like you're done. You're out of the tournament. Word. Okay, let's see what else I have. Well, as far as like commentary, man, like I said before, I watched your the vids on the Rydia FGC channel, and you were doing like commentary, and it wasn't live commentary. It was the um, like not pre-recorded, but more of
Yeah, like I recorded the commentary track onto the match after I recorded it.
yeah. What was that called? Not live, but
I was saying
post
yeah,
commentary.
I said post recorded commentary. That's what I was calling it. Not
Okay.
sure if it's even the right term, but I was
Yeah.
saying it because this made sense.
Right. And you were like analyzing the matches, and you were kind of like doing more of a self study on some of your own matches.
Yeah, my match with Buster Wolf especially was one that I recall.
Right.
And
Yeah, you can go ahead.
no, please.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
saying, man, do you think like other people should do things like that, man? Maybe some like, I mean, not put them on or on YouTube if they're not comfortable, but maybe like watch their videos and just kind of like speak out loud to themselves of what's going on. Like, you know how like in like in English class, how you like write an essay and then when you read it out loud, you kind of see all your like grammar mistakes and stuff like that. Do you think people should
Yes.
do that?
I think it's important to do, and I remember that set showed me a lot of things where there's so much knowledge that I had that I wasn't able to use because I would miss this punish or I would miss that combo or this setup, and I know how it works. I know how to do it. I've got the theory behind it down, but a lot of times I just miss the application, and really without the application, it doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything.
Right.
It's something a lot of people should do just because sometimes we're a little too proud to understand our own shortcomings. It's just a natural human error.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool. Um, Regarding commentary, man, when did you get started with like kind of like calling matches like on stream? Like when was like the first like piece of commentary ever done? Do you remember?
I think it was actually at Power Up 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I Spooky was streaming that time, and I'd been trying to get onto commentary for quite a while just to try my hand at it. And probably if I listened to how I was back then, I remember listening to a video of that afterwards compared to how I do now. I sounded very lethargic and just not quite in tune with the match. But it was a good experience to get because it really set the tone later on for being able to understand the pace of matches and being able to go with that flow. Since then, basically, I started doing commentary at just about every event that would let me onto the mic.
Hmm.
Got as much experience as possible. Indianapolis at it was Godlike Sundays back then. They've moved to Saturdays now.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Net Battles for letting me on there so much, and that was the core of the experience I gained on commentary, and it was awesome, tons of fun.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool, man. Yeah, dude. Like I remember listening back to the commentary you did at Evo, or actually I was just listening in when you were doing it live, and I thought it was just really good, man.
Thank you. I do want to, of course, I have to give shout outs to you and Choice Sauce for shouting me out to Mr. Wizard. Tons of thanks for that. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man. Because like you got to give props to do pretty much, man. But I mean, one thing I noticed, pretty small, that I noticed when you do commentary is that sometimes like you'll like make a mistake and then or somebody will correct you and then you'll thank the person that corrected you and you didn't like take it like personally or like or as like an insult to your intelligence, like you always thank the person that correct you, and I think that's something that I think that's pretty like that's really special, and I think that's what a lot of other people should do. I mean, is that something you notice as well, or
I'm not sure if I necessarily notice it, but it's something I do because when we're on commentary, we're there to provide info to the stream first and foremost, and hopefully entertain them in the process. If I say something and it's wrong, and then somebody corrects me, I owe it to both that person and the stream to say this is what is actually supposed to be the truth. And it just comes with the territory, and I feel like if I don't do that, I'm doing them a disservice at just for my own ego. It's not worth it.
right? Okay, that's cool. But another thing I noticed, man, is like when you call matches, like you're very fluid. You know what I'm saying? You don't go too fast, or go to ahead of yourself. You don't like behind. You like stay in the moment, and you kind of provide a lot of good information. Like, how do you do that, man? Is it just something like you've learned, or like is it something that other people can learn? You think?
Well, we talked about practice. I actually feel that is a part of my commentary that I legitimately practice doing. Uh, since coming back home, especially, and doing so much Street Fighter commentary, I worked on getting that down and trying to stay with the match as much as possible and to leave any analysis of a situation afterwards to maybe between rounds, maybe during a lengthy neutral situation where nobody's getting a hit, but to
Yeah.
try to leave long-winded explanations for when there's a window for them. And as long as the match is going, to keep going play by play, note little intricacies here and there as much as I can, and then leave everything else for when the time's right. That was practice, plain and simple.
Right. Okay. That's cool, man. Um. Oh, what are some commentary persons or commentary specialists that you like and that you admire? It could be in FGC or it could just be in sports in general.
Well, I would. There are a few people that come to mind. Ultra Chen are the standard I feel as far as how commentary should work, and I emulate a lot of their values and the way they do their commentary and the way I work.
Yeah.
Uh, Another person, as far as hype goes, completely outside of the FGC, I'm an old school wrestling fan, Jim Ross.
Ah. Okay. Yeah.
I love JR. I love the hype he brings and the way he tells stories when he does commentary. And it's been the next thing I've been trying to work on in terms of what I bring to the mic. So between Ultra Chen, JR, also everybody loves the hype. So do I.
Oh yeah.
And those would be the people I look up to the most.
Right. Okay. All right, cool, man. For somebody that's interested in doing commentary, not even like super serious, but someone that's just like, um, if they're at an event or they're helping an event and they just have to like go on the mic for a little bit, or even if they want to just do it, just to kind of hype up their game, uh, what tips can you give them for to make sure that they are maximizing their time doing it?
Something that I've noticed a lot of commentators doing that is working well for them. Be natural. Just be yourself as much as possible. You love your game. Let it show. I mean, obviously, there's a limit to how over exuberant you want to get. And you tend to realize that as you go. But just be yourself. Show your love for the game. As long as you know what's going on, explain it to people. Don't assume that they just understand. That Mr. Karate just did a sweep option select to stop Kim standing D. Explain why that works. So, little things like that. And anybody who didn't know that will appreciate gaining that information from you.
Right. Okay. All right. That's a pretty good tip. All right. Well, do you have any other like future endeavors, future plans regarding fighting games or KOF? I know you told us about an event that's sponsored by Red Bull, but is there anything else? Maybe any plans to go into any future tournaments? I know you said it maybe Evo again, but anything else?
Almost definitely Evo again. I'm just gonna need to hear out the game lineup. I mean, with Guilty Gear being there, at the very least, there's a main game that's involved. The KOF community should be there, so I should be going for that too. But other than that, from this tournament in January all the way to Evo, I'm not sure because I'm still new at work. My vacation day supply is not going to be too big, so I'm gonna have to stick to local events for now and just kind of work with that.
All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I hope to see some more KOF at the local events, man.
I hope so.
Yeah, and if you could just keep sharing them, man. If you could, even if it's like one match or two, it'd be good to see. Because I know there's a lot of good KOF, in the kind of sector of where you live. Because I've been seeing people post up vids and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, they play KOF out there. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, and in terms of skill level, you might have seen Buster Wolf in these videos we played. If I have a distinct belief that if this guy traveled and didn't just stay home and care for his family as much as he does, which props to him.
Oh yeah, family first.
In my eyes, would have been competing with Zero Black for best carry and competing with so much of the world as a top player. He has that much potential.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool, man. All right. Well, man, I think that's it as far as questions go, man. I think the well's gone dry. I mean, there are some other stuff, but I mean, I guess like there'll be like somewhat redundant questions of things I already asked you, man. So,
you're in the driver's seat, so
yeah, man. So yeah, thanks so much, man, for for talking with us, man. For get to know you, man. Yeah, good luck to whatever, all the things you have planned for the future and stuff like that. And it was cool meeting you, man.
It's been a pleasure, Des. We've been trying to get this together for a long time. I'm glad it came through. And huge shout outs to you with everything you're doing with this podcast and all the effort you're putting in for Dream Cancel, all the stuff you've been posting online, and all the tournaments you've been going to and getting the word out for KOF. You're very hard work, and I hope it's paying off for you.
Thanks a lot, man. Cool, man. So before we sign out, man, would you like to give any shout outs, man? You can give them any shout outs as you like.
I mean, I've given most of the ones that I would like to give throughout the show.
Yeah.
For at least the history part with the U.S. Mm-hmm. So at least all the ones I would give now would have to do with the local community. Shout outs to Philip Nova. He went to Japan to work on animation. He's my Guilty Gear inspiration and my KOF training partner. Also, shout outs to the KOF golf community that we're finally getting together in which we're all going to be there and show what we're made of. And, well, of course, the last shout out has to be to, you and Dream Cancel for having me on here and giving me the chance to get some word out and for all the efforts you do for KOF.
All right, cool, man. Thanks again. All right, well, shout outs on my end. Well, I'm just going to recap a lot of the promo and plugs.
All right.
Dream Cancel t-shirts. Go and get them at dreamcancel.spreadshirt.com. Shout outs to Signed by R for their frame data application that you can download on your phone. Shout outs to KOFfuneral.blogspot.com. Check out their Facebook. Shout outs to KOF13hitbox.blogspot.com. Shout outs to the Nest organization in Taiwan. Shout outs to Zero Black in Chile. Chat with us at the Chatween chat box and view the forums via Tappa Talk. Big shout outs to Gunsmith and Rose Renaji holding it down for the Euro scene. Shout outs to the Kings of Colorado. Check out their tournament, Winter Showdown 2, which is January 10th. We'll get more information once that's closing in a little closer soon. Shout outs to SLR Rosarito holding down the Mexico and Tijuana area. Shout outs to FM Sway from New Jersey. Oh yeah, donate to Dream Council, man. Dream Council SNK at gmail.com. It could be $1, it could be $100. It doesn't matter. We'll, um, you know, use the funds to keep the site open. Maybe use it for maybe like some future like small sponsoring of like some tournaments or something like that. Maybe use it, maybe to get T-shirts and stuff like that or whatever. But yeah, just go ahead and donate to the site if you find the site useful. Go right ahead. Oh yeah, get a KOF 13 on Steam. I think it should be 30% off on Steam right now. Oh yeah, King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. Not sure when that's coming out, but it should be soon. Oh yeah, get the King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match Final Edition on Steam. It's $14.99 right now. We're testing out the public beta, and the net play is improving day by day, and a lot of the other smaller nuances of the game are improving day by day. It's getting really, really good. I'm having a lot of fun playing online. I was playing online earlier on our online Steam party, and I played a lot of matches. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun.
It's KOF 98. There's no reason for it not to be.
Oh yes, indeed. Yeah. Yep. And what else? Oh yeah, Frostings. January 23rd in Chicago, Illinois. KOF 13 will be there, and other cool fighting games. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Share this on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Google Plus. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, post it in the comment section below, and we'll answer it. Stay tuned for our next episode, which should, to be announced. Maybe do another interview. Maybe we might do the 2014 recap. I'm not sure, but we'll keep in touch. And again, thank you so much, Ahmed Frofighter, for joining us, man. Dang, hey, what time is it over there right now?
It is almost 5.
Ooh.
5 a.m. And it's all good. I mean, I should be able to get in a quick extra hour or two. I already got a good amount of sleep before this, so I'll be all set to go to work in about 3 hours.
Oh man. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I did the timing, taking all of it into account. So, and it was hella worth it.
Right. Okay. Oh, just let everybody know. I said this at the beginning of the show. We're still doing the KOF 13 2014 highlights hype video. I'm editing it right now. It's in the production reels, and it's going to be pretty dope. So stay tuned. Probably have it out New Year's Eve or maybe New Year's Day. We'll see. But I'm currently working on it right now. And also, just let people know we are still adding information and content to the KOF 2002 Unlimited Match Wiki on Dream Cancel. We have a couple of character pages that have some more move list descriptions and whatnot, maybe a couple combos. So go ahead and check it out. It's almost done. We have like a couple pages left. So in your spare time, go ahead and check it out if you're willing to get 2K2UM on Steam when it's coming out. I would say in the same season of winter here in the U.S. So yeah, just stay on the lookout, and we'll keep in touch. And thanks a lot, everybody. See you in the next episode. Peace.
Peace out.